What is a basic skill that you grew up thinking everyone had until you saw others do it so horribly? I had a friend who grew up with maids. He was gay and his family kicked him out. So he got this tiny little rundown studio apartment in Los Feliz. He was super proud of it, and invited me to see it. He was using candles to light it when I got there, maybe to save money, maybe to hide the blemishes, and had left an ashtray on the floor, which I accidentally kicked and got cold ashes all over his carpet. He freaked the fuck out. What do I do? How am I going to clean that? With a vacuum? I replied, confused as to why this was a mystery. He didn't have one, so he went to ask the building manager if there was one he could borrow, which there was. He pulls this standard upright vacuum into the middle of the room and then stares at it. After a few seconds wondering what he was doing, I asked, "Do you not know how to use a vacuum?" "No, you have to understand. We always had maids. I never even made a bed before last week. So I plug it in, turn it on, and take it a couple times back and forth across part of the carpet." Then, like a child with the Fisher-Price popper vacuum, he went to work. He was over the moon excited. 25 years later, it's a favorite memory of that person. Laundry, especially emptying the dryer lint. So many places I've stayed had bad dryers that were packed full of lint. How these people did not start a fire is amazing. Being gentle with your things. Anytime we get help from siblings and their spouses, I'm astounded by how roughly they treat all of their things. How rough of a job they're okay with accepting. Also, when assembling furniture, my best mate put together a set of shelves using a drill as a driver on the short and easy to insert Allen keyed screws. Stripped half of the heads and forced a few in at slightly off angles, and also stripped their threads a bit. Like, what are you doing, bro? Could have just used an Allen key by hand and put it together in the same time without damaging anything. It's still pretty amazing watching how some people use their phones and computers. Like, you could give some leeway in the 90s and earlier. Computers back then were fairly complicated for a lot of functions. But after 30 plus years of design refinements to make them about as easy to use as possible, plenty of people, including younger people, interact with them as if they're afraid it will get mad at them personally if they mess up. I'm shocked at how bad some people are at following written directions. Not travel, but like assemble furniture, follow a recipe or experiment, read an instruction manual. Explaining things. If I explain something and someone tells me they don't understand, I explain it again, but frame or phrase it differently. I will never understand why so many people think just saying the exact same words again in a more exasperated, condescending tone is at all effective. Basic awareness of when to call emergency services. I recently saw a guy having a seizure on the ground on a busy street. There were 100 plus people standing around watching him. I shouted, "Has anyone called an ambulance?" And everyone looked at me blankly. People were recording with their phones but hadn't thought to call an ambulance for the guy. This is in the UK, so it's free to call an ambulance, and the man's hospital treatment would have been free. The whole thing freaked me out. I kid you not, I lived with a guy once who had a butler his whole life. Things I taught him: 1. The funky knife with a hole in it is not useless, it's a potato peeler. 2. You open cans with a can opener. 3. Nothing needs to be microwaved for 10 minutes. For the record, I really liked this guy and he was incredibly fun and kind. Being able and willing to figure stuff out. A lot of basic skills aren't that complicated. And in this day, if it is complicated, the internet almost certainly has dozens, hundreds, or more, tutorials. Quitting because I don't know how should not be the answer. I wish more were taught to figure things out, or seek the help, answers to get it done. I thought that everyone younger than me knows how to do basic computer troubleshooting. Turns out a fair of people younger than myself don't know how to look up answers online. It honestly baffled me. Cooking, using a washer and dryer, cleaning. Most importantly, cleaning. I had a terrible experience with some roommates, just couldn't clean up after themselves, forgot who's made the mess, and would constantly blame the house being dirty on me. Me, who would literally wash every plate after I used it, never left a dish in the sink, would take out the trash fairly often for everyone, and whenever I had guests over, I cleaned up the apartment and left it the way I found it, if not better. Had to move back into my mum's house for peace of mind. I would have caught a charge back there, eventually. I'm still amazed at how many people my age still can't use computers properly. I don't mean in the too old or too poor category, I'm talking about the sheer number of people in my age group who skipped past computers and went straight to smartphones. I'm 21. Swimming. I feel like I need to be a lifeguard every time I go swimming and watch some people flail wildly in the water they could just stand in. Writing an email with proper grammar and formatting seems obvious and easy to me, but I see so many people at work who are just the worst. Clean the damn lint screen out of dryers and doing laundry in general. I've been tossing my clothes in the washer and dryer since I was like 5, my college peers around me have no clue how to do any of it. The scientific method. My public school science teachers drilled us over and over on critically designing experiments. I thought that was normal. Turns out, my hometown just has really good public schools. My 8th grade English teacher had a doctorate. Basic first aid. Buddy in college got cut and didn't understand how to make it stop bleeding and bandage. Disinfect it properly. I was amazed. Throwing your trash in a trash can, garbage can, and watching people leave their shit outside their car when they are in a parking lot drives me nuts, especially when no one will pick that up and it's literally littering. Hygiene.